Now, was the UK right to let Ukraine fire British long-range missiles into Russia? 0207 862 2222. We've got a bit of news on Russia's response in just a tick, but let me just show you the papers from this morning. And the Mail saying up to 12 British Storm Shadows fired into Russia. I was going to say, look, are we going to bring on a Russian response? But we've already had a murder in Salisbury because of nerve agents, so maybe we're past that point. UK defies Putin as Ukraine fires British missiles into Russia. The Star has, I don't know if this is appropriate, the tone of this headline, Armageddon, a nuclear bunker. Yeah. If this is the Third World War, it's not going to be anything to laugh at. It's still yet to be confirmed by the UK government that it's happened, but the Ukraine Defence Minister has said he was using all the means to defend our country. This is what the Storm Shadow missiles look like. They're described as bunker busting because they can hit underground targets and penetrate armoured walls, making them particularly useful. Look at that. And that's particularly if you're one of the 10,000 North Korean special forces, you don't want to be seeing that coming over the horizon. The report we've just seen is that Russia has now fired an intercontinental ballistic missile into Ukraine. Now, it's not a nuclear-armed one. It's the first time they've done it. It doesn't need to be intercontinental because Ukraine's next door. But they're basically saying, we're going to send something into the air now that's got the ability to go all the way to the States. We're only dropping it on our neighbours. Just be warned. You think we should be doing this, Mike?
Well, also an intercontinental ballistic missile goes up higher and comes down faster. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's bigger than conventional.
It's completely
missiles.
Unnecessary to use one against your next door neighbour.
Completely unnecessary, and you're absolutely right. It's Putin flexing his muscles. But look, I'm glad we've done what we've done with the Storm Shadow missiles, but we should have done it a year ago, to be honest. We shouldn't have dithered. And the dithering has come from the United States of America. Biden now, I think, is trying to sort of seal his legacy as he's leaving office. So he's saying the US is going to put the missiles in. And now, because, of course, they're in charge of the guidance systems for these British missiles, they've said, you can do it as well. We've gone in there. It's a bit too late. And I am absolutely confused about our defence policy in this country when on the same day, John Healey, the Defence Secretary, issues a list of sort of vehicles, boats, drones, helicopters,
decommissioned,
are all being taken out of service.
I know.
Taken out of service. On the same day we're getting hard with Putin, we're telling the rest of the world, by the way, we're reducing our military strength enormously.
All right, what do you think?
John Healey has made it explicitly clear that the money that is going to be saved from decommissioning, from these decommissions are going to stay within the Defense Department. And what is very important to note is that a lot of these vehicles or whatever you want to call them that have been decommissioned, they were in such disrepair that you couldn't really use them.
You could, honestly, but they just weren't very good.
So this money is going to stay within the Defence Department. The UK has made it very, very clear. I'm certain that the defence spending of the UK is going to increase.
I'm not.
I'm certain it has to, and it is going to, and I think that here Starmer has been making the right sounds. It is very, very positive that this is happening in Ukraine right now, that they are doing this.
So you like it as well? Okay. So you both agree that we should have lent our missiles to Ukraine. Okay. One group who doesn't agree with that is the Campaign for Nuclear Disarmament, and we can speak to their General Secretary, Sophie Bolt, now. Sophie, you've got serious concerns about what's happening in the last 24 hours.
Yes, it's very, very dangerous. I mean, we've been arguing for some time that the US and the UK should not be giving Ukraine use of these long-range missiles precisely because it would precipitate an escalation that we're seeing now, which is incredibly dangerous. I mean, these intercontinental ballistic missiles that Russia has used, they can be nuclear tipped. They're not, thank goodness. But our view is that there has to be a de-escalation.
That would mean, Sophie, that would mean giving some of Ukraine to Russia, which is a vindication of bullying, isn't it?
Well, I think what's happening is, if this is about trying to save lives, to protect the Ukrainian people, it's not working, is it? We're just seeing escalation upon escalation upon escalation. There is a real threat now that NATO is going to be drawn into an all-out confrontation with Russia. So that's two nuclear armed powers. And the Ukrainian people are in the middle of this. And we know polls show that the Ukrainian people want this war to end. They have had enough. They want it to end quickly through peace talks.
Mike,
and that's what needs to happen.
Yeah. Sophie, all I would say is that Russia started this. They're a dictatorship and they invaded a democratically elected country, a free country. You can't allow free countries to be taken over by dictators, because what will happen next is China will take over Taiwan. Iran will get busy, and countries like North Korea will be emboldened. So as the free world, as part of the free world and the second biggest military power in the free world, we've got to stand up against Putin. On the NATO and Russia situation, NATO has got 16 times the weaponry of Russia. Russia will never take us on.
Sophie, what about it? The NATO is there behind us and we are not going to get clobbered.
Well, I think the problem is that the role the NATO has played has actually escalated this conflict in the first place. The situation with, NATO expanding across Eastern Europe for a number of decades has contributed to the situation that we have now. Also, we know that the US is planning to strengthen its nuclear capability across Europe. So it's going to be delivering new nuclear weapons across Europe. Those plans have been in place, since before the Ukraine war happened. So we have to recognize that this is not an isolated situation. This has been an ongoing provocative situation for some time.
All right. Thank you very much, Sophie Bolt of CND. So different views on this. Peter in Wolverhampton, where are you on this?
Well, I think Mike's off his trolley. I wish I could get some of what he's on. I mean, these armchair warriors who want to start World War III are ridiculous. We should be getting Trump to settle it in a few days and get it all sorted out.
By giving a bit of Ukraine away?
Yes.
Well, that could happen.
A lot of Ukraine away.
Stella.
But that's the problem, isn't it? It's we know that the peace deal is going to come. We know that it has to happen. Ukraine is in a bad shape right now. It's not even about making progress. It's about making sure that that Putin does not get Kursk back. So don't you think that it makes sense that before Trump is in, before he reins it in, that we help Ukraine have a better, stronger position so that the peace deal is not basically Putin doing whatever he wants?
Yeah, what about that, Peter?
Well, I mean, Trump will sort this out in a couple of hours because Putin's ready to do a deal, but escalating into World War III just to try and protect a bit of Crimea is ridiculous.
No, Peter,
Putin is bluffing. Putin is bluffing. The UK missiles have been used for the last 2 years on territory that Putin claims to be Russia. So this is all an excuse.
This is different, yeah. But so what you said about Kursk is interesting. So Ukraine has gone into a bit of Russia, and it's really embarrassing for Putin, and they've got to stay there.
Exactly.
And Putin is desperate to get them out before Trump comes in.
Exactly.
When we assume the fighting stops.
These missiles, the longer range, means they keep the Russian forces back. They can keep the Russian forces at bay to stop them retaking Kursk. And Kursk has got to be a gambling chip when the peace deal it comes about. They've got to hang on to it. And that's the purpose of the extended range of the missile.
Thank you, Peter. Alan in Cornwall. Is Mike off his trolley wanting us to go in here? Alan.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah. I believe we should allow Ukraine to use the missiles that we have given them, because if we are bothered about it in this country, why sell it to them? And you cannot expect a country not to defend itself by all means if it's attacked. I mean, let me put it this way, using history that no doubt you know. Would Britain be expected not to have defended itself when it was attacked by Germany in 1940? You can't expect it. And what you were saying yesterday, for example, about the atomic weapons, I happen to agree with the atomic bomb. I think it's kept the peace. Mutual assured destruction.
Well, it's fine until one goes off, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just wonder whether... Look, we know Putin's crazy, right? He sent 2 agents to Salisbury to pretend they were looking at the cathedral to smear someone's door handle with poison that then killed a young woman called Dawn Sturgis because she thought it was perfume.
Yeah, exactly.
And we've never, ever lifted the 2 agents. We just let him do it. So, Alan, how do you know he's not going to send a big one across the border?
Happens to be rather simple. We have atomic weapons ourselves. The Soviet Union, as it was, lost millions in the last war, more than we did. They know what a war can do.
Fair
if
enough.
we have the atomic bomb and we make it clear, you do that, we'll nuke you, it'll stop. And that is why we've not had a world war.
Well, maybe, Alan, and do you know what? That is apparently what Trump, by his account, said directly to Kim Jong-un.
He did in North
He said,
Korea.
if you touch your button, I'm going to blow you to smithereens.
Yeah, I've got a bigger button than you.
I got a bigger button, and we haven't had a peep out of them since then,
Exactly.
really, until this, when they suddenly joined with Russia.
Yeah.
OK, Alan, thank you. We must talk more about this. It's really, really big news. A, that Ukraine have fired our missiles, which need to be steered probably by us. And then B, Russia's responded with some sort of intercontinental ballistic missile. 0207. More calls on Ukraine firing British missiles into Russia, and this response this morning where Russia have sent an intercontinental missile at their next door neighbour, which is a whole contradiction in terms. 0207 862 2222. Let's speak to Jenny in Derbyshire. You worried by this, Jenny? Yeah, don't worry. Hold your horse. Yeah, we catch up in a second. There we go, Jenny. Hey. You worried by this, Jenny?
Yes, I am actually.
Yeah, don't worry. Hold your horse.
Yes, I am.
Great. I think mute the TV. Why are you worried?
Well, the thing is that I'm a Christian. I really do believe the world is in a dangerous place now, and I've thought that for some time. And I really do believe that.
Yeah.
I can't hear. Sorry.
No, but listen, I tell you what, Jenny.
Yeah,
Stay away from the TV. Just phone on the ear. Phone on the ear and the microphone near your mouth, and it will work.
Yeah.
We can hear you loud and clear. Just the TV.
Can you
I'm so
hear
sorry.
me?
Yes, I can. The TV's on a delay, so it doesn't help us. But listen,
okay.
these are serious times. Okay, so you're a Christian. So you believe in justice. And the argument, the other argument, the Christian argument, is that if Putin starts tiptoeing into Ukraine, we've got to fight back on their behalf.
Yes, I know, but I don't. I honestly really believe that it doesn't bode very well for us. Even though, I mean, you just don't know what Putin. He's not going to just stand by and think, he's lost now. I don't believe that. But whether the actual end is going to come, I don't know, because some years ago, the reason it sounds bizarre, but years ago, I had a Ouija board which brought me to the Lord. I didn't believe in the God or anything or the devil, but the main topic on this board years ago was the end is coming and people need to repent. And I thought, is it me? Am I hearing wrong with it? Is it just a game I'm on? But they said, look after the window. I was so determined that I was going to hear that this was coming from the Holy Spirit, from the Spirit, wherever. I looked out of the window, and these two people were coming up the road. And so I knew that it wasn't me. And since then, I obviously know now that the Bible does talk about the Lord coming back in judgment.
Okay, all right. I mean, I don't... That's the first time I've heard a Ouija board used to communicate with God.
Do you know this story, parable, whatever it is, about the man who was drowning in the sea, and he was and a small boat comes by and says, "Oh, do you need help? Should we save you?" And he says, "No, I'm praying. God, the Lord will come and save me." And then a bigger ship comes, and then more people pass by, and every time someone offers to save him, he says, "No, I'm fine. I'm praying to God. God will save me." And then at the end, he drowns and he goes to heaven. He said, "God, I was praying to you. Why did you not save me?" And God says, "I sent you all of this help and you rejected it."
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes it can be the same thing. We don't like the kind of help that is available. And in this situation, the only kind of help that we have available is the not perfect support of the UK and the USA and other European powers. And because there are, conflicting issues that we don't like, we keep on questioning this. So we are asking for someone to save us from an autocrat, from an aggressive autocrat like Putin. And the thing is, this is the solution. This is it.
This is our moment. And you may be right. Maybe the way Putin has given us a portal into his world because we are justified in taking part in this, and we can drive him back, and he will then be crushed by his own people.
I mean, this is a proxy war. Ukraine are fighting this war on behalf of the whole of the Western world, the whole of the free world, and we've got to get behind them. Otherwise, the Axis powers, Iran and China and Russia, will all get together.
OK, Robert in Glasgow, what do you think of Mike and Stella's argument? This is our chance to defeat Putin. We do it through Ukraine.
I think that's right. Mike is right on that score. Yeah, I think Mike is very up to date on that. I think they should have done it about a year ago. I think Putin should have stepped down, like Kamala Harris, but on the missiles, they're all the specific targets, like say the airfields, the ammunition dumps.
Yeah.
And that's what I would like to see. I don't want them to get into like say, civilian areas or anything
Okay.
like that.
Yeah, thanks, Rob. One quick call. Claude in London, do you agree? We're right to go in?
No, I don't agree.
Okay, thanks very much.
I think the biggest bullying is the 4 million people that have been put into food insecurity, and also 8 million that have been put into extreme poverty when we had G20.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for all your calls on this. If we've not managed to speak to you today, stay tuned for Storm's show later. She'll take some more calls on this and whether or not we are on the right track with this whole thing, which is obviously now moving hour by hour. Later